Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Very good morning. You're watching Trading Hour on CNBC TV 18. I'm Ekta Batra, with me is Prashant Nair, and it's turning out to be a steady session for us. And I say this because we've gained around 1.5% for the Nifty. In fact, if you just look at yesterday's trading session, we ended at the high point or close to the high point of the day, and we managed to see some amount of follow-on buying coming into today's trading session. So up around 0.3% currently for the Nifty, and we have a very good advanced decline ratio on our hand. In fact, the mid-cap index is up 0.8% today, but on a week-to-date basis, at current reckoning, the mid-cap index has outperformed the Nifty with almost over a 3.5% or close to 3.5% gain. Otherwise, a lot of stocks in focus. So Tata Motors, which is flashing on your screen, that stock is at the high point of the day, up around 5-odd%. Eicher Motors, which is up 3.6%. Vakrangi and a couple of other stocks such as the new listings, ICICI Securities and Midhani, which are all flashing on your screen. Hi, Prashant.
Ekta, hi. I mean, yesterday, same time at 11, we put out where global indices are at. And, you know, it looks like indices are bouncing. I mean, actually, you go back and look at each of those 5 or 6 indices that we spoke about. They've all bounced. I mean, so that is the point I was making yesterday. Maybe, I mean, that level gets taken out on the downside, or maybe you get a meaningful bounce. But I think it would be too early for bulls to claim any sort of long-lasting victory. Although it's not impossible that, for example, the S&P, you know, you look at charts, it bounces back to about 2750, or so. So, I mean, it is entirely possible. We just need to see if the bounce lasts. With Monday's bad global markets, if on Tuesday, I mean, the Indian market could have the session that we had yesterday, I mean, it's entirely possible that with overnight good cues, the market today continues to hold on to the gains. As Ekta pointed out, autos are doing very well. I mean, actually, yesterday as well, it was private banks, private, public, and banks and auto stocks, which were the top 3 pockets of strength, and today is no different. I think autos are by far as sector is concerned, the top gainer. The top 4 Nifty gainers actually are all auto names today. So that is where we are at. 31 points, almost to the day's high, 10,276. Sudarshan Sukhani is with us of S2Analytics.com. Sudarshan, good morning. Good to have you here. Your sense of things and whether this can stretch?
Yeah, good morning again. Well, we have been upbeat on the market, suggesting that there is a relief rally, and that relief rally can be something bigger also. So that rally is continuing. Traders should be long in the Nifty bank. If you are not long, even at current levels, you can consider buying, not for an intraday trade, but for a positional trade, a swing trade, which you can carry over. Your stops will be somewhere around 10,160, and that stop can be trailed as the Nifty goes up. Now we can see choppy days again. It's not as if the Nifty will go up day after day relentlessly. It won't do that. But the broad trend is up, and we could be seeing 10,450. So there's a lot more momentum on the upside.
Okay, 10,450. But Sudarshan, which index or stocks would lead it there?
Well, I think it will be a general rally. Banks, IT, pharma, and consumer durables, all of this would be participating in it.
All right. Specific stocks today then?
Well, we'll start with autos. You talked about them, and Prashant said that autos are leading, and they are. And my favorite is Maruti. So while everything is going up, it's the bluest of all blue chips. Maruti is the buy for today. Consider buying Maruti for the day and also for carrying for a couple of days. The second buy is also in the financials. RBL Bank. RBL Bank had a deep correction. Most banks had it. After that correction, it's been building a base and is now probably willing to go higher. So it's breaking from a base breakout. Many banks and NBFCs are giving the same pattern. That tells us there is momentum. It's not an isolated case. So the RBL Bank is a buy, and United Spirits is a buying opportunity. That deep correction in United Spirits is over. I expect eventually lifetime new highs to come. Of course, it's a day trade, but somebody could also build a position there.
Okay, those are specific stock calls from Sudarshan. Well, let's get some questions answered as well. Karthik has 1,000 shares of Jain Irrigation, which he paid 105 rupees a share each for. He wants to know a one-year view on the stock. Jain Irrigation, Sudarshan, what would you tell him?
I think I would tell him to hold on. The charts are very attractive. The stock is volatile. It goes up, corrects a lot. Then again, it resumes its up move. that is part of the game. You have to accept volatility in mid-cap stocks, but he could easily look at 125, 130 in a year's time, even more. So it's a very decent return that we can anticipate looking at the charts today. Hold on to the stock.
Okay, and another one, Sudarshan, for you today is Ameya wants to know Hero MotoCorp is a good buy at current levels or not?
That's a trading request, I think, and that's how I'm replying to it. At current levels, Hero MotoCorp is a buy, mainly because the Nifty itself is giving us a sense of momentum in the month of April, and Hero MotoCorp is doing the same. Look for a target of 37.50 or close by. It's a short-term trade, but you could buy at current levels.
Okay, Sudarshan, thanks very much. By the way, before I let you go, banks, anything looks set up for a decent move? I mean, do you think ICICI, for example, makes sense from a trading point of view?
Yeah, well, yes.
Yeah.
For trading, ICICI Bank and State Bank both look good for the move in the in this month in April.
Okay, ICICI Bank and State Bank of India. Thanks very much, Sudarshan. Appreciate you joining in with that perspective. So what, 27, 28 points right now on the Nifty, 10,273 is where we find ourselves at. Just want to quickly highlight a couple of other stocks. So I think Nalco, so it's all auto, as we were talking about. Nalco comes up with a 4% gain. There's something like a Raymond, which is at about 961. It's up about 2.75%. These are all also part of the F&O list. Karnataka Bank, I mean, I think it had sold off to about 105 rupees in the recent correction. It's back at 122. 2.6, 2.7 higher. And then you got something like a Reliance Capital, Indigo. I mean, we were talking about Indigo yesterday and yesterday afternoon. It's basically back at about 1400. So I think it's at a new high essentially, 1399 odd. Although it it went past 1400 earlier. I'm talking about the April futures contract price. Okay, let's get some F&O strategies as well. Yogesh Mehta is with us. He's Vice President, PCG Advisory, Equities with Motilal Oswal. Yogesh, thanks very much. Morning. What would you trade?
Hi, morning. Since markets are on a bullish turn today, but the only thing is we have to watch out for 10,275 to 80 level. If market closes above this level, then the bull run can continue further. And we have event tomorrow on the RBI side, so needs to be cautious on that front for temporarily. However, on the stock specific, we are recommending all three buys. One is Repco Home Finance. Currently, it is quoting at 600 rupees in the future segment. Keeping a stop loss of 585, target could be in the range of 635 to 640. It has crossed over its recent high again post correction from those levels. So now chances are very likely that it can move further from that level. Another one is Hindalco, post subdued performance from 230 odd level to 205, now 210 level. One can buy with a stop loss of 204 rupees and target could be in the range of 220 to 22 levels. The third one which we are recommending is ACC. Now stock is languishing at the all-time low level today. It has shown some uptick and above 1550, keeping a stop loss of 1550, one can buy and target could be in the range of 1620 to 1625 levels.
Okay. All right, Yogesh, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and taking us through all of those strategies. M&M up 2%, Eicher up 3.5%, Tata Motors up around 5.3%. They are really driving market momentum this morning. Need to take a break, but as we do that, let's get you some good news. Your wait, in fact, is now over. The market leader in business news is now available at your fingertips. cnbctv18.com will soon be on your phones. Always stay connected with CNBC TV 18.
The market is up 18 points, which means actually from the time that we started, the Nifty has given up 12 or 13 points. So it's not catching a bid, it's actually seeing some profit taking. The big story, of course, from yesterday evening was the fact that the panel set up by the government has proposed some seminal changes to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Actually, it's a 75-page document. We put out details and got lots of reactions yesterday. These recommendations, if accepted, could alter the course of resolutions under the NCLT. My colleague Nisha Podar is in conversation with Shardul Shroff, who's actually on the team which has made these recommendations. Nisha, over to you.
Thanks for that, Prashant. Of course, Shardul Shroff is joining us from New Delhi. He has been one of the key architects of this panel recommendation as well. There have been certain questions which are going to make a huge change in the way IBC process is running. So let me quiz him on exactly those important points. Mr. Shroff, good to have you on CNBC TV 18. My first question, a provision and a recommendation has been made of bilaterally settling some of the NPA cases outside of the IBC process with 90% COC vote. What does this mean? And of course, it's prospective in nature, but will this encourage matters to be solved outside of IBC and therefore weaken this entire process?
See, let me first clarify how the origin of this issue came. There were instances where operational and financial creditors used to settle with the corporate debtor and were then seeking to withdraw the petition filed or admitted, and it was discovered that there is no power to record a settlement by the NCLT. So as a result, these matters went to the Supreme Court, and under Article 142 of the Constitution of India, the Supreme Court allowed settlements in the interest of justice. But they made an observation that these kind of provisions should also be incorporated in the code. And that is perhaps the trigger point as to why you're seeing this movement in the report. Now, what is contemplated in the report is that before any resolution, post-admission, before any resolution and the process and the response is really received, if the creditors, like they used to do in the JLR or in the JLM, come about with a position where they can settle with the corporate debtor, and they have settled with the corporate debtor, then with 90% of the approval of the committee of creditors, they can cause a settlement based upon bilateral processes rather than a resolution plan and come to a solution. This is not intended to cover a situation where the whole process has run through, the whole process has resulted in a winning bid, and this is not a device to unsettle a winning bidder who has entered into a contract with the lenders, has paid a guarantee. So this is a limited window where, just like in the settlement, multilateral settlements with the MRA kind of process which was being done by the JLF and the JLMs, this is that kind of procedure which is recognized by the court. It's not a procedure which really tries to defeat a bid.
All right, so you've made it amply clear that even if this is taken up by the government, it is still a recommendation. It will not really impact the cases like an Ultratech Binani, and it will not help solve those kind of situations outside of IBC. Another important bit that really came out was exempt MSMEs from certain provisions of Section 29A of the Insolvency Code. So also relaxation given in 29A, which pertains to the bid by a promoter himself or a person who's related to the promoter in getting back his company. If you can throw more light on this, and how will this relaxation change the course of IBC process?
So first, let me deal with the MSME issue because that's an easier answer to give. What was found in the deliberations is that the small and medium enterprises are really more vulnerable, and you don't want a spate of dissolutions or spate of winding ups against this segment, which is important to the Indian economy. So what was then discussed and which is found in the report is that whenever there is an MSME, and that's a defined term, you will be in a position where if you are not a willful defaulter, then as a promoter you can tender a resolution plan despite the fact that there is a non-performing asset. So it's a distinct departure from 29AC, which is applicable to larger enterprises where the promoter is obligated to pay off the overdue amounts, costs, charges and interest up to the date of filing of the resolution plan. So this is the distinction which has been in a sort of a liberal treatment given to the MSME, provided you are not a willful default.
Okay, and you can keep hearing excerpts as well as the full show with Shardul Shroff talking about the recommendations which have come in for the insolvency code. But as of now, we need to focus back on the markets, in fact on the commodity markets. Manisha Gupta is with us to tell us what she's looking at this morning. Manisha, over to you.
Ekta, thank you so much for that. Well, it is the precious metals on focus right now. We have seen the prices being quite volatile. Till date, it's only been just about a 2% gain that we have seen in the space. But there have been various reports which do suggest that the portfolio diversification, the kind of concerns, geopolitical and financial, that we are seeing in the global markets, perhaps might lead to further investments continuing in case of gold. Joining us to talk more about that is Chirag Sheth of Metal Focus. Chirag, hi. Metal Focus is coming out with a report today on what really can be expected in sense of demand and investment in physical, etc., and the prices as well, on how we could be there. Would you want to lay out for us on what prices, first of all, are you estimating for gold for the rest of 2018? Chirag, I was asking you on what are you expecting in sense of prices for gold by the end of 2018?
Well, we have a bullish stance on, gold, if you look at for 2018. However, what we believe is that, it's going to be two different stories in two halves. First half, we are looking at probably consolidation and sideways movement, whereas it's in the second half where we see a lot of these tail risk and, fundamental factors playing out, So we believe that second half, we'll see actually 1400 to 1450 levels, breached by the end of the year.
So, Chirag, what makes you so bullish? What fundamentals are you watching out for, and where do you see much of this money or investment coming in for gold?
I think there are three factors, Manisha, to actually look at. First one being that we believe that the supply growth that we've seen over the last few years will actually start tapering out. So on an annual basis, we only estimate about 0.5% growth in supply. Mind you, what we've seen a phenomenal increase in supply over the last decade. However, gold prices, the lower gold prices, actually led to underinvestment in this in the entire project pipeline. And this will now start to play out. That's the first part. Sure. Second part, we believe that the jewelry demand, will recover both out of India and China. We see, India seeing, recovery and Chinese demand bottoming out after 3 years of decline. So from the jewelry side also, we see a significant amount of, upside in terms of demand. The only flip side over here is the central bank, buying, which we believe will slow down. However, there are a lot of other tail risks. You've had a trade war which is starting up. And our sense is that, the tit for tat, strategy will actually escalate into a larger trade war between, different nations. And I think that could act as a significant, tail risk for the gold price on the upside. Also, you've had the Saudi Arabia-Iran conflict. In all likelihood, U.S. would not, renew the nuclear negotiations that we had with Iran. So there are a lot of other factors which are, playing out.
Well, absolutely. And Chirag, I just want to come back to prices yet again. You've said 1450 to 1500 by end of this year. Are you looking at next couple of years as stronger for gold? Because that is pretty much the consensus now building up from various gold experts.
Yeah, so I said 1400 to 1450 by end of this year. But I think we are amongst the few who are bullish on the market. However, what we don't believe is there would not be an just a consistent upward movement. There is likely to be volatility and consolidation in the market. Right. So we will have those kind of scenarios.
Point taken, Chirag. We'll let you go at that. Thank you so much for joining us. That's the report coming in latest from Metal Focus exclusive, which says that 1450 is what they are watching out for in gold prices by end of this year. That's nearly $100 plus for gold prices from the kind of levels that we strong. But Sumit Bagaria as well joins us. Sumit, what is your sense on gold prices for the near term? Are you equally bullish?
Hi, good morning, Manisha. Well, yes, absolutely right. For a near term, we are bullish on gold, and it seems that from here on, there is a possibility that we might see upside move for the targets of 31,000, 31,100 as a short-term for a short-term trading perspective. So one can initiate long positions in gold June contract at around 3,700, 3,750 levels, with a stop loss to be placed at 3,600 levels on lower side for the upside target of 31,000, 31,100 levels in the next couple of days.
And how do you look at the silver prices? Do you see the strength that we're expecting in gold to rub off in case of silver in any sense?
See, somehow silver has not given a move the way we are expecting, but overall silver is looking bullish. In next couple of weeks, we should see a good upside move in which we can see in which we can see levels of around 41,000 or 42,000 levels. I think till the time 37,000, 37,500 levels are not taken away, one should be on buy side for the targets of 41,000 and 42,000 levels. So traders can initiate long positions in silver current contract at around 38,400, and if there is a dip of around 300 to 400 points, then that should be used as a buying opportunity.
Okay, all right, Manisha as well as Sumit, thanks very much for joining in and taking us through all those strategies. Well, for the markets, we're just about higher by around 9 to 10 odd points for the Nifty. So we've come off from the day's high. It seems as though it's just a little bit of a consolidation. Let's see how the rest of the trading session pans out and whether there is any sort of buy on dips that emerges. Need to take a break.